Hi, my name is Joseph Waters from Jonathan's Landing Golf Club. I'm a certified executive chef and with the ACF Palm Beach chapter. Today we're going to be doing a demo on a dish about flounder, also known as Fluke. These ones came in from Rhode Island. So first off, we're going to start with the first part of the recipe, which is being able to handle a fluke. So this is your fluke. It's a flat fish, has 4 fillets to it. The white side is the bottom side. The brown side is the top side on how they swim. Now, always want to dry off your fluke. I start by the white side. We're just going to grab our knife and do a straight angle cut. Above the head, you're going to use the gill area as your handle. And you're going to cut straight down. I'm going to use a really sharp knife. Always want to clean your knife after every use. And then you're going to get in underneath, and basically you're just going to slide your knife all the way out to the other side. So as you're feeling the rib cage, there's one center bone down the fluke, and you're just literally going to let the knife do all the work. Until you come out the other side. We'll do another demonstration afterwards as well. You're going to lift up your fillet, and you're just going to find that center rib. You just want to take your tip and run across the side of it. When you come up here, you have the rib cage. You want to cut through that, clean off your knife again. And it's the same motion from the front to the back. You're going to insert your knife. You're going to let your knife do all the work and just come through the back. Okay, so you see there's nothing left on the rib cage itself. I'm going to turn the fish over. We're going to do the same process. Now you have your stomach here, so you're just reversing the knife cut that you did the first time. And clean off your knife. You're going to insert your blade and hold the gill again. And then just with the pivot all the way down and out. You're going to find that rib cage again. Cut it. Same thing here. Cut that off. All right, so now you have your beautiful fluke bones. This you can save for later. You can make fumet with it. So here we have, they're called the ribbons. We're going to remove them. Now you could save this for another use. You could fillet it off. They have a lot of flavor inside. You could use it for a farce if you were doing a fluke roll. Or the next time you're going fluking, you could bring it and it's great bait. So we're going to remove the ribbons. You always want to clean off your cutting board as well. Look as professional as possible. Work nice and clean. I'm going to switch my knife, and then using the tail part, I'm just going to do a small incision and then hold that, and then let your knife do all the work. I like to lift my fish so it's not pulling, and then keep on continuing going up the tail, or not the tail, the skin itself. So then we have our skin that's left over. I'm going to split the fillets. There's a little bit of your bones in there, so we're just going to do a center cut down here and kind of remove that little bit of blood line that's left for presentation purposes. That just removes. That can be saved as well. And trim up the fish. portion them in two. Okay, so the flounder dish, or the fluke dish that we're going to do today has a couple recipes that are going to be involved. We're going to do the fluke right now. It's going to be lightly dredged and pan-seared. And then we're going to do a beautiful English minted pea puree. We're going to do an Israeli couscous, a Beurre Blanc, and then just a little leaf garnish on top. So again, grab the tail part of the fillet, grab the skin. I like to move it up, resituate myself, and then pull that off. Okay, so we have our fluke fillet. We're just going to remove that center piece a little bit. Trim off each piece, cut into two. All right, we are on to the next recipe for the dish. We have a beautiful minted green pea puree. We have our green peas here. We have a little bit of mint. We have our cream. I have pre-blanched off some spinach. That's going to help with our color. We have some chicken stock. So over here we have a chauffant. It's boiling water with salt. We're going to take our peas. We're going to blanch off the peas for about 2 minutes. I've already pre-blanched off these peas just to help speed up the process a little. So after about the 2-minute mark, you're going to introduce the mint. You just want that to blanch off for about 10-15 seconds. Okay. And then once this is finished, we're going to immediately put it into an ice bath. I like to do this whole recipe cold. It helps lock in that chlorophyll that we're looking for that beautiful green color. So in food, you have the color orange comes from carotene. The purple color comes from betaine, and green color comes from chlorophyll. So we're going to shock that off. The next step is going to be coming over to the Vitamix. Vitamix is a very high-speed blender that we're going to use. So we just need to drain these off really well. And then we are going to put everything into the Vitamix. Take off our last little pieces of mint, and lose that. And then we have the little green spinach. I'm just going to add about half of this. I think it'll be more than enough. Okay, we're going to incorporate just a little chicken stock. We're going to put on the lid and start to blend. So now we just need to check our taste on the pea puree. Just a little bit more salt. We're going to pass this through a china cap. So every puree or sauce that we make here, we pass through a china cap at least once. So all you want to do is you want to grab a fine china cap, a very small ladle, push it through. It's going to remove any of the skin that's left in there and just give you what's left is going to be a beautiful smooth puree. So we are done with this. So now we're going to take the pea puree and just save it for later when we're plating up. Okay. And that's the end result. It's a beautiful thick puree. The next recipe we're doing is an orange and saffron braised fennel. So we have our beautiful fennel here. We're going to be using chicken stock, orange juice, saffron, threads, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of butter. They will be lightly caramelized in a pan, and then we will introduce the moisture, the liquid into the pan, cover it with a cartouche and let it braise slowly. So we have our fennel. We always want to clean off our fennel. Everything should be washed properly. going to clean off the end just a little bit here. And we have our core. The core has to be removed. You do want to keep a small little membrane on either side, and that will help the wedges of the fennel stick together, stay together. So from here we are going to slice them into little wings, if you will. So with a nice sharp knife, you are just going to cut a small angle off the fennel. So we have our fennel that are cut uniformly. We are going to take our frying pan. This has already been preheated. We're going to introduce just a little bit of oil. And I'm going to caramelize the one side with just the oil, and then when I turn the fennel, I will incorporate just a little bit of butter, get that little mousing. We'll incorporate the thyme to the dish and then finish off the braise. So that is nice and hot. We're going to add our fennel. We want this on kind of like a medium-low heat. There's a lot of natural sugars inside of the fennel that will caramelize. That sizzling sound is exactly what you want to hear. We're going to season this fennel just a little bit with some kosher salt. A little bit of white pepper. Again, we like to use white pepper so you don't see the black pepper for the presentation purpose. So once this is caramelizing a little bit, you just want to keep an eye on it. It does go rather quickly. I would say right before I'm going to turn it, I will incorporate the butter and the thyme. So again, saffron. We have saffron here. It's one of the most expensive spices in the world. It's the pistils, and it comes from a crocus flower. They're all hand-picked. Usually is the explanation for why it is so expensive. You don't want too much fat in here as well, because as you're braising it and glazing it afterwards for the glaçage, the fat that you want to incorporate is more or less butter than an oil. So at this point, I'm going to introduce just a little bit of unsalted butter right in the center of the pan. I have about 2 knobs here. And then we will add our thyme right into that butter. I will start to turn over the fennel. Now I'll let that caramelize the other side again. The aroma that we're getting already between the anise kind of natural flavor in the fennel and the thyme is brilliant. It smells really good. So we're going to season this side as well with a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of white pepper, the next step would be to introduce our flavorings. So we're going to start with the orange juice, and we're going to do a full reduction. So every time that you want to build layers of flavor within sauces or dishes or braises, you really want to do as much concentration by reduction as you can. So that is nicely caramelized. We are going to incorporate a little bit of orange juice. I'm going to let this reduce. Going to incorporate our little saffron threads here. Try and spread it out. So basically what we want to do, I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit here. We want to reduce that orange into a nice, beautiful, glossy consistency. It's going to turn kind of into a syrup. You can see that the saffron is giving us a beautiful yellow color to the dish. Alright, so now we have our beautiful reduction here. You can see it's turning into a syrupy. The flavor has concentrated tremendously. We're going to add a little bit of chicken stock. We're gonna build our profile like this. So basically, this is kind of a version of étuve, you know, water, butter, salt, sugar. We're gonna let this chicken stock reduce a little bit. I'm gonna incorporate just a little bit more chicken stock. We're gonna cover it with a cartouche and just let it finish braising very slowly. So we have our cartouche. A cartouche is just a piece of parchment paper, so a full rectangle parchment paper that we folded in half, folded in half, folded in half, and then basically we measure the interior of the pan, and with a nice pair of scissors, just cut that, and that will give us a nice little lid to keep everything. All right, so we've reduced that chicken stock a little bit. We're gonna add just a little bit more. We're gonna take our cartouche. We're just gonna cover that. I'm gonna turn the heat down and let that finish to braise. All right, we are on to the couscous salad. We have Israeli couscous that we will be using today. We have a brunoise of peppers. We have some diced shallots and some chopped parsley. So for the bell pepper, you just want to trim it off, clean off the ends. You want to level it out as best as possible. So these are perfect little cubes. So we are using yellow, red, and green bell peppers. We're going to add a little bit of oil into our pan here. We're going to start with our base. This we're going to treat kind of like a risotto. We have a little bit of oil. We're going to sweat off our shallots. Sweating just means cooking without any color until it's translucent. Once that's cooked for a little bit, we're going to incorporate our bell peppers. Always want to clean up as you go. You're going to sweat that out as well. And then we're going to toast off the actual couscous. So you just want this to go a little golden brown. At this point we can season a little bit with salt. Again, it's all about layers of flavor. This couscous salad, you can add herbs to it if you'd like. You can cook it with different flavored liquids. You could use it as a cold salad with a vinaigrette, which is nice. Always want to clean down your sides. Once that's toasted, we're going to incorporate, so we have 1 cup of couscous, and then we have 1 1/4 cup of hot chicken stock. So we're just going to incorporate that inside and let that cook down. You don't want anything on the sides of your pan, so that I refer back to the risotto. It's so important that all your sides are clean. If you have 1 grain of rice that sticks to the side and you're finishing your risotto, that rice falls back in. You now have an unperfect risotto, and somebody's going to eat it and find that 1 grain of hard rice and say it's uncooked. Same thing goes for anything like this, the Israeli couscous. All right, we're back. The couscous is finished now. It's completely absorbed its liquid. So now we're just going to finish with a little bit of butter, 2 nudges of butter. That helps create a nice little velvet consistency around the pearls itself. Helps gloss it up as well. Always want to clean your sides. As you can see, it's been cooked perfectly. We're going to give it a taste, adjust for seasoning, add some fresh parsley. So we need just a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of white pepper, finish with some chopped herbs. You don't want it to stick to the bottom. And voila. Okay, we're going to move on to the Beurre Blanc. We have our Sautéed shallot. We're going to incorporate it to a warm pan. Immediately we're going to add our white wine. And we are going to create a reduction. So this has to be fully reduced. Okay, we have to concentrate the flavor as much as we can. And once that's reduced, we are going to incorporate some passion fruit puree. You can or cannot. A classical Beurre Blanc does not incorporate heavy cream. If you're working in a restaurant setting and you can't keep perfect control of your Beurre Blanc from splitting, you can fortify it with, we like to call it double cream. So it's basically heavy cream reduced by half. And at that point with your reduction, we were going to start to mount some butter. So now that we have our reduced white wine with our shallots, we're going to incorporate our passion fruit puree. And again, this is going to reduce by about half as well to concentrate the flavor. And once that's been reduced by half, I am going to add a fillet of cream just to help stabilize the sauce. And this will reduce by half as well. So now we have our reduction that is complete. I want to just let it cool down a little bit. As you can see the consistency, so we have our shallots in there, which has been completely reduced with the white wine. Then we've reduced it again with the passion fruit, and then the fillet of cream. Consistency is beautiful. It's barely sticking to the bottom of the pan. As you can see, when you swipe it, it's relatively thick and staying in place. Now you can, we're going to mount it with butter, create our Beurre Blanc. So in the pan, whisking until each piece has been melted. Residual heat from the pan is enough heat to melt the sauce and prevent it from breaking. So now this sauce, you could strain the shallots out, or you could keep it for a little bit of more of consistency purposes. We'll return it just on low. Now you don't want to boil this. Heat. So now that we have our butter incorporated, we're just going to taste it one last time, adjust the seasoning, and then we will go on to the plating portion of all the recipes for the dish. Okay, we're in the final portion of the demo. We have our beautiful Fluke fillets here. We're going to lightly season them with salt, kosher salt, and white pepper. Make sure our pan is hot. We're going to incorporate our oil to the pan. We're going to dredge the Fluke lightly in a seasoned flour. You can see the oil's nice and hot. You just want to shake off the excess flour and then cook presentation side down. Just a little bit more oil here. have all of our components. We have our couscous salad. We have our passion fruit bar blanc, our English pea puree. So while the Fluke is cooking, I'm going to start our base plate. So we have our minted green pea puree, which is going to be our base focal point on here. Okay, we're going to spread that out as nice as we can. Fish, turn over our Fluke if it has the right color to it. I'm going to put our ring mold on top. And then with our beautiful couscous salad, we're just going to add some into that ring mold and create a nice little base. Okay. We're going to turn over our Fluke over here. A little bit of oil on the outside. So we have our beautiful caramelized fennel. Again, this has been glazed with the orange and saffron braising liquid. As you can see, the beautiful caramelization color and the nice glaçage from the glazing and basting. We're going to lift our ring mold. Then we have our pieces of Fluke. So we will plate one piece on the bottom. A second one on top. Now add our beautiful caramelized fennel. Finished with a little bit of a petite herb salad that was tossed with a little bit of champagne vinaigrette. And that is it. That is our dish. We have minted English pea puree, couscous salad, pan-seared Fluke, orange and saffron caramelized fennel. Enjoy.